Jon Moxley, Cesaro. Way before Gargano, there was Savage and Roddy. And Saturdays on NBC, these five guys on Facebook are gonna take a hard look. 3 Count Thursday brings to you the wrestler on the week.
All right, like I said, week 52. If you had already done some math by yourself, you may have figured things out, but we will get to that in a few seconds. This week we decided it was such a big week that we would close out the very first wrestler of the week, wrestler of the year, by doing 5 instead of 3 for the week. So does anybody want to kick us off?
Me.
All right, Tim, go ahead.
Go ahead, Timothy.
Well, now I don't want to because Mark told me I had to go.
I'm sorry I upset you.
It's okay. So, number 5, the new ROH Pure Champion and latest All Elite Athlete. It is Wheeler Yuta. At 4, the man in which the episode of 3 Count Thursday is named after, the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes. At 3, the new Ring of Honor Tag Team Champions, and because of that also being the match of the weekend, I have to pay my respects to Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, FTR. Number 2, he is the head of the table. He is my tribal chief. He is the Uwa man, and he is the undisputed WWE and Universal Champion, Roman Reigns. And at number 1, the person who had the match of WrestleMania, the person who is the first person in WrestleMania history to win a world championship in their first 2 outings at WrestleMania, Mrs. Bianca Belair.
All right. Anybody would like to go next?
Yeah, I can go.
Go ahead, Smokey. Hurry up while the internet's working.
Well, it's working. Top to bottom, Pat McAfee, I think he showed out again at WrestleMania. Had a fantastic match against Austin Theory, and had a great rub, like I said, with Austin. It's amazing how just gifted he is naturally in the ring. Great on commentary, and he punted the ball pretty well. Mark, that's a football reference. Bianca Belair, the new Raw Women's Champion, besting Big Time Bex at WrestleMania. Just out of my favorite match of the weekend. It was kind of A1 if I had to rank them. Cody Rhodes, honestly, welcome home. The guy's back. Great promo on Raw. Great return. Great match with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania.
With who?
With Seth freaking Rollins.
Thank you.
Vince McMahon makes my list. Number 2. The guy's 76 years old, and he won a wrestling match. The bell rung. He won the match. The bell rung again, and he punted a guy, a football into a guy. That was fun. But honestly, the guy's in better shape than all of us combined. Kudos to Vince McMahon. And then he took the worst stunner I've ever seen.
Ever.
You could have taken a stunner better, Smokey.
You just got to fall to your knees, I feel, and Vince did everything but. I watched it back, and it was almost like he was trying to fuck with Stone Cold. Like maybe it was like a
my
rib.
hands and knees and just take it.
I would. I'd have been on my hands and knees, just took that stunner right on my knees. What would I have been able to do? From my number 1, Stone Cold Steve Austin. The moments of the weekend, night 2 was kind of a bonus. I wasn't sure we were really going to get Austin on night 2, but once the McMahon shit started to happen, it was very obvious. So that's the moment. Another beer bash, drinking a lot of beer, just like old times. Made me happy to watch wrestling again, and especially the WWE. Stone Cold Steve Austin is my wrestler of the week.
All right. Would anybody like to go before we move on? Mark, you Ryan brought up the football, made me think of sports. You sent out that that smoky opening day image. Do you have any idea what the reference is there?
For the opening day.
Yeah.
I think it's opening day of hunting season, so Smokey the bear's probably hiding in his cave.
That adds up. That adds up.
Correct.
Anybody would anybody like to go next?
I can go.
All right, Matt, go ahead.
So number 5, I had Roman Reigns. He did win the 2 belts. The match I thought was boring, but he did do what we all thought he was going to. So you have to at least give him credit for that. Number 4, Gresham. Now had a fine match at Supercard of Honor. Winner take all match, undisputed ROH world champion. So tip of the cap to Mr. Jordan Grace. Number 3, we have Pat McAfee, who was fantastic in the match, on the mic, drinking the beer after he took the stunner. It was all fun. I thought he was an absolute gem both nights. Number 2, Cameron Grimes for winning the ladder match for the North American Championship. Clearly, I thought the best match on that card. And then number 1, Bianca Belair for winning her second title at her second WrestleMania.
Did we ever find out who was it the Grayson Waller? Did we ever find out if his arm is still attached to his body after that spot in the opening of NXT?
His arm is as dead as Dick Trickle.
I think he was on NXT this week.
Oh, Ryan. Okay, so he's all right. Intern Mark, would you like
That's
to
the
go
worst
next?
thing I've ever said. Fuck you, Jim.
I mean, it's not, but
It's not even
Which is also
close.
telling.
right. I
That's
don't
fair.
think that's something to brag about, but here we are.
It's been
The
since
trickle.
2013.
It's still the Trickle family suffering.
I am sorry for the Trickle family.
I'm sorry for the Trickles.
Intern Mark, do you want to give yours?
Okay. Who did I pick again? All
It's
right,
on the screen, Mark. It's on the screen.
Thank you. Let me get my readers on.
Oh God.
My reading glasses. So I got number 5, that Stone Cold Steve Austin. He put on a good performance this weekend. I enjoyed that. And number 4, Patrick McAvoy. Is that it? McAfee. He played what sport? He played baseball before he became a wrestler.
Yes, baseball.
He was a
And
shortstop.
he was a shortstop. He stopped short with the Stell. he put on a good show, and you know what? Not only did he put on a great show or performance wrestling, but I really enjoyed his commentary. That man brings so much energy and excitement, especially to when you had those jackass people wrestling, the jackass people. I thought his commentary was fantastic. He was excited about it. And then the grandson of the plumber, Cody Rhodes, came in at number 3. He's an American Nightmare. And number 2, I've got the lovely Bianca Belair, the Fresh Princess, Bianca Belair. She won 2 titles back to back in WrestleMania. That's impressive. I don't care who you are.
Unprecedented.
Unprecedented. And then number 1, I had to go with number 1 because it wasn't the best match of the weekend as we had discussed. But the fact that Roman Reigns, my head of the table, has won the Universal title and the undisputed WWE Championship, I had to go with him as number 1. And I'm sorry if that upsets anybody.
No, I think we'll make it.
Thank you, boys.
My 5 for this week, the match against Austin Theory, the commentary, the beer drinking on the floor, just a spectacular WrestleMania weekend for one Pat McAfee. My number 4 is Stone Cold Steve Austin. I didn't really know what we were going to get out of Austin and KO. We got a freaking match. Stone Cold Steve Austin taking full-on bumps on the floor at WrestleMania. Did not expect that one. Didn't expect anything on Sunday. Just a great weekend from old Stone Cold. Number 3, he is the WWE Undisputed Universal World Galactic Champion. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, head of the table, the man with more nicknames than Apollo Creed. Number 2, he came home. Cody Rhodes, American Nightmare. I thought it was a perfectly executed return, and the match was spectacular. So good to see Cody back in WWE. And number 1, arguably the best match of the entire weekend, and winning the women's title, the Raw women's title this year, coming off the SmackDown title win last year. Just a spectacular showing once again by Bianca Belair. So she is my number 1 for this week. So for the week as a whole, we did 5 for this as well. Pat McAfee got 7 points in 5th place. Stone Cold Steve Austin with 8 points comes in at number 4. The American Nightmare Cody Rhodes comes in at 3rd place with 12 points. The Tribal Chief, the head of the table, the Galactic Champion Roman Reigns is number 2 with 13 points, and Bianca Belair number 1 this week with 21 points, which brings us to our final standings for our inaugural year of the Wrestler of the Week. It did not matter what Roman Reigns did this past weekend because the result was never in doubt, but I'll start at number 10 and work our way up. At number 10, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, with 25 points. Number 9, Bianca Belair, with her strong showing at Mania this past weekend, comes in at number 9 with 26 points. Brock Lesnar, number 8 with 27. Number 6, Kenny Omega and Sammy Guevara, 28 points. The Hangman, Adam Page, came in at 5th with 29 points. Number 4 was Big E, 31 points. And our top 3, which have not changed in, well over 2 months, I believe. Bryan Danielson, 38 points. And then the top 2, Roman Reigns, he got close, 73 points. And our Wrestler of the Year, which started right after WrestleMania a year ago, all the way through now, with 80 points on the year, is Matt Cardona. I would not have guessed that a year ago, but Mr. Woo Woo Woo, there he is.
You know it.
I mean, it's also crazy. So all of the standings are on 3countthursday.com. The Google sheet is there, but just even round out the top 20 to show how all encompassing this list was. I mean, you had Kevin Owens, Matt Tremont, MJF, Camille, and John Moxley all tied for 20th. Mickey James and Bobby Lashley at 18. John Gresham, Keith Lee, Malachi Black at 15. CM Punk and Karrion Kross at 13. Cody Rhodes actually made a huge jump in the last day, getting up to 12th. And then the Mendoza line is Braun Breaker, who almost made my list this week for an impressive match to stand and deliver, and then winning the NXT Championship on Raw, and then defeating Gunther on NXT for the title, or to defend the title. I mean, that's a pretty good 3-night combo for anybody. But Braun Breaker just missing the top 10 in his first year as a competitor.
Absolutely. And I mean, really, he only came onto the scene at the switch, the 2.0 switch, which was October. Is that when I can't even remember exactly when the switch happened. So that's only in the last few months.
Yeah, I think we were all impressed, and then instantly had buyer's
Kevin,
remorse.
I like your idea.
We were impressed that we had buyer's remorse.
We should make a plaque of, give it to Cardona at the.
You know what? You can make the plaque, Devin.
There you go, Devin.
Yeah, we'll make
That's
you
how
a
he
shirt
said-
if you do that.
There
That's
we
why
go.
he said make a plague.
I just feel like Matt gets closer and closer to just fucking snapping one of these episodes.
Oh, Matt, please. Matt, don't do it.
So we, as we're wrapping up the first year now, we will say this, that there will not be any Wrestler of the Week next week. We're going to take a week off from Wrestler of the Week. Matt and Ryan will both be away. I believe we will probably have the Take 3 podcast crew, or at least the only two that we need to have, Joe and Big Mac, joining us next week. But we'll take a week off from Wrestler of the Week. We'll start our the new year of Wrestler of the Week and some other stuff in 2 weeks from now. Stay tuned to all of our social media for some exciting announcements coming your way from us and from the show. But as we're wrapping up this one, do you think, at least with the top 10, do you think we got anything wrong? Or do you think it's a fairly accurate portrayal of the last year of professional wrestling?
I think it's better than the PWI 500.
I mean, there's a lot of things probably better than the PWI.
You ain't lying.
I mean, if we're being totally honest.
He ain't lying.
I mean, I would say consistently Matt Cardona probably had a better year of moments and memories than Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns historically will probably go down as the wrestler of the year in 2022 or 2023. That's looking at the entire year kind of holistically as like its own thing. But breaking it down week by week, I don't think our math is wrong. I think we stand by what we've done, and Cardona's the man.
Yeah, I mean, when we started this list, I don't think there was any way that I would have thought that Matt Cardona would have cracked the top 10, much less be number one. But really, if you look at the last year, I don't think you can disagree with everything that he's done. I mean, yes, Roman Reigns has been atop of the WWE since even well before we started the list. But I mean, Cardona's won what, 6 different titles in multiple promotions. He's the NWA World Champion. I mean, like that's one of the most recognized titles in all of the sport. So I can't disagree at all with Matt Cardona at 1 and Roman Reigns at 2.
He kind of single-handedly made a lot of people take notice of GCW too. It wasn't really until Cardona versus Gage that like GCW really had like a lot of steam. You know,
He played a huge role in that.
right? And it's no surprise, honestly. Like, I mean, the Hammerstein deal probably. I think it's a domino effect, but I really think that like Cardona's influence and his polarizing nature really kind of set GCW over the edge.
I hate to be this way. I don't even think Cardona had to do a lot to do that. He just had to be the guy from the WWE, just like Jerry Lawler in ECW. Like, it's instant heat. It was so easy. You just had to be the guy willing to do a death match that was signed to the WWE.
But I think too, like part of it being Cardona is a pretty boy. He is about as WWE as WWE can get, aside from John Cena or like, because you wouldn't see like, I think if John Cena was in a death match, you'd be like, oh my God. But there's like certain WWE-esque people.
John Cena was in a death match. I think I was in some sort of
comatose
super
state.
COVID fever dream.
Right. But also the fact that like Cardona has a gigantic following on social media. He's
the action figure guy.
He's the toy boy.
Like he's a toy guy and he's doing deathmatch shit. I mean, it's
and he had his toys at ringside, and he had
insane,
fans threw Lucy's at him. like
Fans also
full on
used
fastball,
one
Billy
fastball,
Gunn
full
figures.
beer cans and shit. I mean, it was
Yeah.
that fucking insane.
And like, regardless of like what you feel about GCW and whatnot, like I'm not necessarily the biggest, like I'm not super pro GCW, but if I go onto my fight.tv and I look at the 2 pay-per-views I've bought on Fight, one was the Cardona show
Mm-hmm.
and one was Super Card of Honor.
And I mean, look, you can say what you want about GCW, but like the GCW crew was like hanging with the McMahons on Sunday. like there's pictures at me. Like I don't know what weird
Yeah,
cross
but
section of the wrestling universe brought that upon us, but
yeah, I don't know.
I mean, what it is, what it is. But fuck, I'm not a deathmatch. I mean, I've never been a deathmatch guy, but it has its place, and I mean that one got a lot of people talking. Absolutely.
It wasn't so much the picture with Brett Lauderdale with Stephanie that got me. It was the Jimmy Lloyd picture that really just
Right? Like
made me just sat in my craw, and I'm like,
what universe are we living in?
like they must have gone to like everybody who was dumb enough to get a suite and take pictures with everybody, or like,
Or is that the Cardona rub? Is that the Cardona rub?
nah, I don't think so. I think, see, I don't even want to make different me in a different time would audibly make a joke about why Stephanie came to visit Jimmy Lloyd.
Okay.
But I won't. If I remember it, I'll say it on the Patreon next week.
Or at least, if nothing else, share it in our group message.
Oh, for sure. I'll say it right now. I'll
There you
text
go.
it right now.
So at least we can see what the joke is.
Yeah, you got. I want to see you guys' reaction.
And I'll try to remember to ask about it next week in the Patreon. So patreon.com/Count Thursday.
$2.
$2. You get the whole month. Whole month.
2.
And all the back catalog too. So you can go back and listen to whatever the hell you want. But any other thought? Any other thoughts, guys, on the wrestler of the year before we close?
He's a different boy.
He is a different boy. No, I think Wrestler of the Year was good. I think we learned a lot internally about it as well. Kind of like how the sausage is made. I feel like next year, there should be an account for
How sausage made?
well, first you take the walnuts and the cashews, and you add mayonnaise.
You
And
know,
then,
Sausage guy.
but I think we should take into account the fan vote, the listener vote. Find a way to have them add to what we do. And then also I really feel like with the last week we did the Wrestler of the Week, I really feel like we hit something there. It gives more of an opportunity to get more names on there, as well as like allow people when only like 4 people get points, but only like 3 people are nominated. It's very tough to have people who are high on the list or people who are consistent, maybe not top 3 performers every week, but top 5. It would having multiple, adding those other 2 would give an opportunity for people to inch towards getting closer instead of guys like Roman and Cardona and Danielson who had 4 big weeks in a year,
Right.
or 6 big weeks in a year. And because
This opens the door for more people like Adnan Verk or Haystacks Calhoun to inch up the list.
I would say so, if they are so inclined to find a
me.
way.
Sounds like you want more Haystacks.
I don't actually. I wouldn't
It
want
sounds like-
any haystacks.
sounds like you're looking for a needle in a haystack.
That's about as much of a chance as I give Haystacks Calhoun making the top 10 next year.
Oh, damn.
So that sounds like a challenge.
I hate that, but let's yeah, we will be back again. No Wrestler of the Week next week.
So are we
Taking-
doing 5? Or we can announce that today? We're doing 5 here on out?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're safe to
I
announce
like
that,
that.
starting
All
in
right,
2
first
weeks.
one of the changes.
Starting in 2 weeks, we will start something new in 2 weeks, and that is 5 wrestlers of the week, and we'll announce more in terms of how we can incorporate fan votes and stuff like that.
Love that.
Over the next couple weeks. But let's
Are
close
we
the book.
announcing the OnlyFans tonight as well, or no?
Fuck, Ryan, that was supposed to be a surprise. God damn it. Well,
That's
let's
on me,
close the book
guys.
on the wrestler of the year. Congratulations to Matt Cardona.
He did it.
Moxley, Cesaro, way before Gargano, there was Savage and Roddy, and Saturdays on NBC. These 5 guys on Facebook are gonna take a hard look. Free come Thursday brings to you the wrestler on the week.
The 3 count question of the week.
No.
No, Mark.
Oh,
Yeah.
we had that already.
Yeah,
Kevin.
we it's already gone. The time has already passed.